The bright light pierced through the inky blackness of the night sky over the sleepy town of Haven Grove. It started as a pinprick in the distance, rapidly expanding into a massive, swirling vortex of light and energy. Shane Smith lowered his binoculars, his mouth hanging open in disbelief. The 16-year-old astronomy buff often spent his nights gazing at the stars from the roof of his house. But he had never seen anything like this before. His heart hammered in his chest as the vortex touched down in the woods just beyond his backyard. This was really happening. Alien encounter in small town, USA. This changed everything. Shane grabbed his phone and frantically texted his best friend, Caleb Lee. "Dude, get over here now. I'm serious. I just saw a UFO land in the woods." Caleb responded immediately. "Yeah, right. You're such a spaz. I'm trying to sleep." Shane sighed in frustration. Of course, Caleb didn't believe him. No one ever took Shane seriously, writing him off as the weird, quiet kid obsessed with sci-fi and outer space. But this time was different. This was real. Shane texted back, "I swear, dude, look out your window to the east. How could I make this up?" Meanwhile, Sheriff Anna Silva was just settling into her night shift at the Haven Grove police station. She leaned back in her chair, feet up on the desk, ready for another uneventful night in the sleepy town. The phone rang, startling her. "Haven Grove PD," she answered briskly. An excited voice responded. It was the Smith boy from over on Cedar Lane. He was rambling about lights in the sky and aliens landing in the woods. The sheriff sighed. That kid always had an overactive imagination, but protocol required her to at least drive by and check things out. "Okay, Shane, I'll swing by the area and make sure everything's all right. It's probably just a downed power line causing some sparks." Sheriff Silva stepped out into the cool night air, the beams from her flashlight cutting through the darkness as she headed for the wooded area behind the Smith place. She didn't expect to find anything out of the ordinary, but the hair on the back of her neck prickled as she saw an eerie glow emanating from a clearing up ahead. Heart pounding, hand on her holstered weapon, she slowly approached. What she saw next left her frozen, mind reeling in shock. It was some kind of spacecraft, nothing like she had ever seen before. Metallic, oval-shaped, illuminated from within by a strange white light. Sheriff Silva stood staring in disbelief for who knows how long, unable to process what she was seeing. An alien spacecraft. Here in Haven Grove. Finally, a loud whoosh jolted her from her trance. A door opened in the side of the smooth metal exterior and a ramp extended down to the forest floor. For a fleeting moment, the sheriff considered making a run for it, but her duty compelled her to stand her ground and confront whatever was about to emerge from that ship. She took a deep breath, steadied her nerves, and drew her gun. Sheriff Silva watched with bated breath as three figures emerged from the alien ship, their forms silhouetted against the bright interior light. They were humanoid in shape, but taller and thinner than any human. As they came down the ramp into the moonlit clearing, more details came into focus. Pale, hairless skin, elongated limbs, large oval heads. Their eyes were striking, luminous in a vivid purple color. The beings approached slowly, their hands extended in what seemed an unmistakably peaceful gesture. But the sheriff kept her weapon trained on them. "Stop right there, don't come any closer." Her voice sounded shaky even to her own ears. The alien beings halted. Silva's mind reeled, trying to comprehend what she was seeing. Extraterrestrials, standing right in front of her. It seemed surreal, impossible. But this was no dream. One of the beings raised its slender hand again in a calming manner and spoke. Its voice was melodic, strangely soothing. "Please do not be frightened. We mean you no harm." Sheriff Silva lowered her gun slightly, against her better instincts. Something about the being's voice and energy set her at ease. The alien continued. "I am Sarana, ambassador from our planet, Kepler, 452b. We come in peace to your world, seeking to establish contact and share knowledge. Kepler, 452b. So these beings were from a distant solar system, just as humans had long speculated. Silva's mind raced with a million questions. But she needed to stay focused on her duty here. "What do you want from us?" she asked pointedly. "We wish only to learn," Sarana replied. "To share our culture and technology with yours in the spirit of galactic friendship. We believe our two civilizations can enrich each other." Sheriff Silva slowly reholstered her weapon. Perhaps these aliens were telling the truth, but she would have to notify her superiors and tread very carefully. This was unprecedented, first contact with an advanced alien race. The world would never be the same. Caleb rode his bike furiously through the dark streets, cold night air stinging his face. He had to get to Shane's house and see this so-called alien ship for himself. Knowing Shane, it was likely some kind of homemade special effect meant to prank him. But there was an urgency in Shane's messages that gave him pause. What if there really was something strange happening? As he turned onto Shane Street, Caleb slammed on the brakes, eyes widening. There, hovering above the trees behind Shane's house, was a massive, shimmering object the likes of which Caleb had never seen. His mouth fell open in awe and fear. Shane had been telling the truth. Caleb ditched his bike and ran to the Smith house. The front door was unlocked. He found Shane in his bedroom, staring out the window through a telescope, intently focused on the craft behind his house. "Dude, what the hell is that thing? You weren't joking," Caleb exclaimed. Shane turned, seeming anxious but excited. "I told you, it's a freaking UFO, man. It landed back there like an hour ago, and I saw these alien beings get out and walk into the woods, along with Sheriff Silva. She had her gun drawn, but then lowered it and was just talking to them." Caleb joined Shane, gazing out the window, stunned by what he was hearing. Aliens and Sheriff Silva talking? This was insane. "What should we do?" Caleb asked nervously. Shane's expression darkened. "We gotta go check it out. I have to see these things up close." "Are you crazy?" Caleb cried. "We need to stay far away from those things. Who knows what they'll do if they find us spying on them?" Don't be such a baby," Shane scoffed. "We'll stay hidden in the trees. I just gotta get a closer look." Caleb reluctantly agreed. They snuck outside and crept towards the site of the ship. Soon they were huddled together behind a large oak, watching in disbelief as more aliens emerged and appeared to be speaking to Sheriff Silva. Caleb turned to Shane. "We need to film this. No one will believe us otherwise." Shane nodded, pulling out his phone to start recording. The ship, the aliens, the sheriff, this was insane. The video would go viral online and blow people's minds. Suddenly a blinding light flashed in their faces. Caleb's phone was ripped from his hand by an unseen force. The two boys cried out as they felt themselves being pulled forward by the same force, unable to resist. They were dragged from their hiding spot and found themselves deposited right in front of the startled group of aliens, Sheriff Silva looking equally shocked. One of the beings, apparently the leader named Sarana, frowned disapprovingly. "You must not spy on that which does not concern you. Now we have no choice but to take you aboard our vessel." Caleb and Shane exchanged panicked glances. This was not how their night was supposed to go. The aliens led a stunned Caleb and Shane up the ramp and into the brightly lit spacecraft. The interior was sleek and metallic, with panels covered in indecipherable symbols and screens displaying data unrecognizable to the boys' eyes. Caleb's heart pounded as the reality of their situation sank in. They had been abducted by real aliens. Sheriff Silva followed close behind, her expression tense. She was clearly as disturbed by this turn of events as the boys were. But for now, they had no choice but to cooperate with their otherworldly hosts. Sarana directed them to a small chamber off the main corridor. It was sparsely furnished with just a few oddly shaped chairs surrounding a central open area. "Please sit," Sarana instructed in its melodic voice. The three humans nervously took their seats as several more aliens entered, carrying trays of unfamiliar devices and instruments. Shane shot a panicked look at Caleb. What did these aliens want with them? Sarana seemed to sense their fear. "Do not be afraid. We wish only to examine you briefly for research purposes before returning you safely to your home." Examine them? Caleb did not like the sound of that. He watched anxiously as the aliens selected instruments from the trays and slowly approached them. Strange whirring and beeping sounds filled the air as the devices were held up close to each person's head in turn, seeming to scan their brains and bodies. Shane fidgeted nervously. Sheriff Silva remained stoic during the examination, but her face was pale, betraying her own unease. After several minutes of intense and invasive probing, the aliens evidently completed their tests. They conferred with each other briefly in a strange musical language. Sarana then addressed the group. "We have learned much from this encounter. You are now free to leave." Caleb exhaled in relief. He expected Shane to immediately jump up and head for the exit, but his friend remained seated, a defiance on his face that worried Caleb. Oh no! What was Shane planning to do? Shane stood slowly, not taking his eyes off Sarana. His mind was racing, heart pumping with adrenaline. These aliens claimed to come in peace, but they had just essentially kidnapped and experimented on them all. What secrets were they really hiding? He had to know more. "I'm not leaving," Shane stated boldly. "Not until you tell us what's really going on here. What do you want from our planet?" Sarana narrowed its large purple eyes. "As we have said, our intentions are peaceful. You are in no position to make demands of us." The other aliens exchanged concerned glances, as if Shane was overstepping some invisible boundary. But he didn't care. His curiosity was too powerful. "You have technology and knowledge way beyond ours," Shane persisted. "Are you going to share it freely like you claim, or keep hoarding your secrets while you take from us?" The room grew tensely silent. Then suddenly a different alien stepped forward, one who had hung back until now. To Shane's surprise, this one had golden skin rather than pale gray. Its voice was lyrical and feminine as it spoke gently. "Sarana, perhaps we should tell them the truth. They are awakening, ready or not." Sarana gave an almost impatient shake of its head. "Zara, you speak out of turn. They are too primitive to understand." But Zara moved closer to Shane, studying him with intense, opalescent eyes. A strange sensation came over him in that moment, like his consciousness was melding with this alien being's. Visions flashed in his mind unlike anything he had experienced before. Cosmic landscapes, advanced technologies, infinite knowledge. Shane reeled as for a brief instant the very nature of reality was illuminated. As the moment passed, Zara nodded knowingly. This one's mind exceeds his planet and time. He is prepared for the source. Sarana made a sighing sound, evidently conceding to Zara's assessment. It nodded and stepped aside. If you wish to know our full purpose here, you must enter the source. It will, awaken you. Shane didn't know what the source was, but he knew he had to experience it again. The revelation had been too immense, too transcendent, leaving him hungering desperately for more. He turned to Caleb and the sheriff. I'm going in. We have to see this. Caleb looked uncertain but gave a shaky nod. Sheriff Silva pursed her lips for a moment before shrugging and stepping up beside them. Okay then, Shane said. Show us this source. The aliens led Shane, Caleb, and Sheriff Silva down a winding corridor to a large chamber that was perfectly spherical. The arched walls glowed with pulsating bands of light that shifted hypnotically. In the room's center floated a luminous orb, rippling with rainbow hues. It was strangely beautiful, radiating an energy that Shane could feel penetrating his core. Sarana indicated the mystical sphere. This is the source, the nexus of our knowledge and power. Are you prepared to open your limited minds to its infinite wisdom? Sheriff Silva cleared her throat. And this source won't harm us in any way? It is beyond your crude notions of harm, Zara answered gently. But no permanent damage will come to your bodies. That seemed to reassure the sheriff. She stepped up to the sphere, staring into its swirling light. I reckon we've come this far. Might as well go all in. With a deep breath to steel her nerves, she reached out and touched the source. There was a bright flash and Sheriff Silva collapsed limply to the ground. Caleb cried out in alarm. He looked at Shane fearfully. Maybe this isn't such a good idea, man. But Shane felt more committed than ever. This was his only chance to access the revelations again. He gave Caleb a quick hug for courage, then stepped forward and pressed his hands to the source. His mind exploded with light and knowledge once more. But this time Shane seized control of the experience, demanding access to the truth rather than letting it overwhelm him. Vast amounts of information surged into his brain. Earth's pivotal role in the coming galactic awakening. It was almost too much, but Shane held on, determined to absorb all he could. Finally it ended and Shane collapsed. After what felt like hours but could have been mere minutes, he stirred and sat up. Caleb and the sheriff were also recovering, looking as shell-shocked as Shane felt. But there was wonder in their eyes too. We have to get home, Shane said urgently. The awakening, it's starting. Sarana eyed the revived humans with a look of grudging respect. You have opened your mind to knowledge few of your kind possess. The awakening has indeed begun, though I fear you are too late. Shane struggled to his feet, still reeling. What do you mean too late? Too late for what? Zara answered solemnly. The away mission originating from Kepler 452b is not a peace delegation. They are agents of conquest, sent to subjugate worlds through guile and infiltration. I am part of a rebel cell that rejects such deceitful methods. Shane's blood ran cold. He recalled the visions of an imminent invasion that would catch humanity unaware. Sarana's people had nearly succeeded, but the source had armed him with hidden knowledge to awaken others. They had a chance to save the planet if they acted quickly. Please, Zara, you have to help us get home right away. We need to spread the word about the coming invasion, Shane pleaded. Zara glanced sharply at Sarana. The awakened humans speak truth. We cannot in good conscience withhold aid. Sarana hesitated, then gave a nod of assent. Very well. We shall return you to your town swiftly, but unlikely that you will be able to halt what is already in motion. The end comes one way or another. Those chilling words rang in Shane's ears as the travelers were led back to the docking zone. In a blur, they were transported down the ramp and deposited once more in the dark woods. The sleek alien ship promptly vanished back into the night sky. Shane turned to his companions, his expression grim but determined. "Come on, we got to get back to my house. I know what we have to do next." The group quickly made their way out of the trees toward the beckoning lights of the Smith house. As Shane's mind continued processing all he had learned, a plan started to form. If they could get the word out about the coming invasion, maybe humanity still had a shot. Once inside, Shane grabbed his laptop and started typing out a message, a summary of everything they had experienced and the dire warning revealed by the source. He kept it concise yet compelling, knowing it needed to go viral online as rapidly as possible. Finally, he read aloud his completed text. "People of Earth, a grave threat is imminent. An extraterrestrial invasion force is poised to dominate our world through deception and advanced technology, but we can save our planet if we wake up now to the reality of their agenda and stand unified against it. Spread this warning to all your friends and networks. Our awakening collective consciousness is the key to breaking their hold. The power lies with the people." Shane's finger hovered over the send button. This message would go out to his thousands of online followers, hopefully launching a chain reaction of awakened awareness. "Ready for this?" he asked Caleb and Sheriff Silva. At their determined nods, Shane tapped send. The message was out. No turning back now. In the hours after the message went viral, Shane watched in awe as the view counts rapidly climbed into the millions. People were reposting, commenting, and having heated debates about the claims. Many called it an obvious hoax. But something about the sincerity and intensity of the message seemed to give others pause. Shane's phone blew up with messages from friends demanding to know if this was real. He assured them it absolutely was. Caleb and Sheriff Silva's phones were also flooded. The three of them worked rapidly to answer questions and direct people to the original post. The frenzy soon caught the media's attention. Reporters showed up at Shane's house, and he nervously recounted the whole bizarre experience into cameras for the first time. The sheriff corroborated his account, lending it much-needed credibility, but many remained skeptical, calling for proof. Frustrated, Shane took to social media again. "You wanted the aliens to land on the White House lawn and declare war outright? They're more cunning than that. We have to trust our inner knowing. The invasion is real and happening through stealth." Within a day, his warning had been seen by over 1 billion people. Massive discussions swirled on all media. Many consciousness-raising groups and spiritual leaders began supporting the message, calling for metaphysical resistance. Not all believed yet, but a global shift was occurring. Eyes and minds were opening. And soon the next phase began. Nightly news programs showing strange lights in the skies and unexplained phenomena. A noticeable uptick in abduction accounts. Shaky videos claiming to show actual aliens. Each new report brought more believers to the cause. Though the invasion force kept to the shadows, their presence was now undeniable to millions around the world. Humanity was awakening to a monumental truth. We are not alone, and others are here for their own agenda. But armed with awareness and unity, the people of Earth could transcend the deception and maintain sovereignty. In the weeks after Shane's message, consciousness continued expanding exponentially. More and more glimpsed pieces of the larger reality and chose spiritual activism over fear or denial. Leaders emerged all over the planet to help coordinate revelation groups and nonviolent resistance. Their numbers were still small compared to the world population, but their enlightened energy was shifting the planetary flow dramatically. No one knew exactly when or how the invaders would make their ultimate move, but the people were becoming too awake now for their sly formula to succeed. A new future was being forged, one where humanity could welcome the galactic neighborhood as equals rather than be manipulated and overtaken. Of course, those driven by power and greed fought these changes and truths every step of the way. But a tipping point was near. The simple act of speaking truth and awakening others rippled out in ways Shane could not have imagined. And soon that ripple would become an unstoppable wave, sweeping away the shadows of deception to reveal a new dawn for humankind. Years passed. The children of Earth continued growing into their new cosmic knowledge. Lies faded, fear receded. Visitors from beyond still came and went, but the people received them with open yet discerning minds. For a brief time, humanity gazed up at the stars with uncertainty about what might lurk out there. But the awakening had turned that unknown into endless possibility. The future was bright. And in all the annals of contact, the tale was told of 3 small-town heroes who were invited aboard and opened the door to transformation. So ended the story that had begun with a bright light in the darkness. Please like, share, and subscribe for more creepy tales from the netherworld. Thanks for your support. Until next time, sweet dreams.